This video is about she walked into the airport lounger and a rich stranger offered to carry her bag. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. The airport lounge was an oasis of calm amid the chaos of terminals and boarding gates. Soft instrumental music floated through the air, a gentle reminder that travel could be more than just a series of hurried steps and indifferent faces. Ava Jensen stepped inside, pushing a loose strand of chestnut hair behind her ear, her turquoise eyes scanning the plush seating and polished wood accents. She was used to the hustle, but that didn't mean she enjoyed it. The recent layover in her journey home from a week-long business trip had left her drained. With a long sigh, she made her way to the bar, her leather tote slung over her shoulder. She had hoped to find a quiet corner to recharge, to savor a moment of solitude before the next leg of her trip. Another long day? A smooth voice cut through her thoughts. It belonged to a tall man with dark, tousled hair and a tailored navy suit that hinted at wealth without being ostentatious. His hazel eyes held a glimmer of curiosity and mischief. Ava blinked, taken aback. "You could say that," she replied, trying to suppress a smile. "I've been traveling for over 24 hours now." "Wow, you deserve a medal," he joked, his lips curving in a way that set her heart fluttering. "I am Aaron, by the way." "Ava," she introduced herself, shaking his hand, surprised by the warmth of his grip. "Nice to meet you." "It is a pleasure," he said, his gaze lingering on her face a moment longer than necessary. "Can I offer you a drink? It seems like you could use one." Ava glanced at the bar, contemplating. "I shouldn't really. I have an early flight." "Just one drink won't hurt," he insisted, his tone playful yet somehow persuasive. "You deserve a moment to breathe. Besides, I promise I won't let you miss your flight." The spark of connection was undeniable. She found herself wanting to know more about him, about the man standing before her with an easy charm and the kind of confidence that drew her in. "Okay, one drink," she relented, a smile breaking through her weariness. As they settled onto high-backed bar stools, Aaron signaled to the bartender, ordering a gin and tonic for her and a whiskey neat for himself. The conversation flowed easily, as if they were old friends rather than strangers sharing a fleeting moment in time. "So, what brings you here?" Ava asked, leaning in slightly, intrigued by him. "I am in town for a conference," he replied, his eyes narrowing playfully. "But honestly, I was hoping to catch a glimpse of something more interesting than spreadsheets and PowerPoints." His humor lightened the atmosphere, and Ava chuckled softly. "Well, I guess I am here to provide that entertainment." "Definitely," he grinned. He seemed like someone who has stories to tell. Just then, a heavy bag slipped from her shoulder onto the floor with a thud. "Ugh, this thing is a monster," she muttered, embarrassment creeping into her tone. Aaron's expression quickly shifted from amusement to concern. "Let me help you with that," he offered, bending down to retrieve it. As he lifted the bag, a flicker of surprise crossed his face. "What do you have in here, bricks?" he teased, his brow arching. Ava laughed, brushing off the comment. "Just a few essentials and some work files." Her heart raced a little as he effortlessly handled her burden. "Essentials, huh? Like a portable office?" he asked, curiosity tinged with admiration. "Or are you secretly a pack rat?" "Maybe a bit of both," she admitted, her cheeks warming under his gaze. "I like to be prepared." "Prepared is good," he said, his tone turning more serious. "Especially in business. That shows you're rededicated." "The dedication is key," Ava replied, surprised by the sudden depth of the conversation. "But it can be exhausting, too." "I can imagine," Aaron said, his hazel eyes softening. "You shouldn't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders all the time. Life is too short for that." The sincerity in his voice sent a shiver down her spine. For a moment, they were two souls connecting amid the sterile environment of the airport, sharing an intimacy that felt refreshingly rare. "What about you? What is your story?" Ava asked, shifting gears to learn more about him. "I run a tech startup," he said, pride shining through. "It keeps me busy, but I enjoy it. The adrenaline rush of starting something from nothing is intoxicating." "That sounds exciting," she replied, genuinely intrigued. "And scary." "It is at times." He leaned closer, his voice lowering slightly. "But it is also about the people, finding the right team, the right partners. It is not just about the product, it is about connection." Ava's heart raced at his words. "Connection," she repeated, feeling the weight of their conversation. "That is what makes it all worthwhile." Aaron's gaze held hers, a silent understanding passing between them. "Exactly, it is the people we meet along the way that shape our experiences." Just then, a loud voice broke through, drawing their attention. A woman in a sleek red dress stormed into the lounge, her heels clicking sharply against the marble floor. She was stunning, but radiated an unmistakable tension. "Where have you been, Aaron?" she demanded, her eyes scanning the room before settling on him. "You were supposed to be at the meeting an hour ago." Ava's heart sank, her moment of connection with Aaron suddenly feeling fragile. Jealousy bubbled uninvited as she watched the woman lean in closer to him, her vibrant energy contrasting starkly with Ava's quieter demeanor. Aaron, caught off guard, straightened up, a shadow of confusion crossing his face. I lost track of time," he stammered, clearly flustered. "Of course you did," the woman replied, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Let us go, the others are waiting." Ava felt an unwelcome knot form in her stomach. She forced a smile, trying to mask her disappointment. "Looks like you have to run," she said, attempting to sound cheerful despite the tumult of emotions brewing within her. "Wait, Ava," he started, but the woman tugged insistently at his arm. "Now, Aaron," she snapped, her impatience apparent. He glanced between Ava and the woman, frustration flickering in his eyes before he turned back to Ava. "I am really sorry about this," he said, urgency in his voice. "Can I at least get your number? I'd love to continue this conversation." For a split second, Ava hesitated, her heart racing, torn between wanting to say yes and the sudden wave of insecurity that had washed over her. "Sure," she managed, quickly jotting her number onto a napkin. He took it, his fingers brushing against hers, sending another wave of warmth through her. "I'll call, I promise," Aaron said, sincerity shining through the chaos. As he turned to leave with the woman, Ava felt a pang of regret mixed with a strange sense of hope. The moment had been brief, but the spark lingered in the air, a promise of what could be. She watched them walk away until they disappeared from view, her thoughts swirling. Perhaps it was just a moment, but in that fleeting encounter she had sensed something more, a connection that might lead to something unexpected. But as the reality of the airport lounge settled back in, she couldn't shake the feeling of uncertainty tightening around her chest. Would she ever hear from him again? Ava sank into the plush leather chair, the warmth of the lounge contrasting sharply with the sudden chill in her heart. She stared blankly at the glass of gin and tonic before her, the ice clinking softly as she swallowed it absent-mindedly. The moment Aaron had offered to carry her bag felt like a fleeting dream, now tainted by the intrusion of that woman. Jealousy swirled within her, unwanted yet persistent. "Hey, you alright?" The bartender leaned against the counter, concern itched across his face. "Just peaky," Ava replied, forcing a smile that felt more like a grimace. He raised an eyebrow, clearly unconvinced. "I saw that guy with you. Didn't he look like he was worth the hassle?" A casual dismissal stung more than it should have. "No, he is a nice guy," she insisted, even as she played back their conversation in her mind, searching for clues about Aaron, about who he was. "Nice guys don't always come with drama, you know," he replied, his voice warm with camaraderie. "You need someone who appreciates your time." Ava chuckled lightly, though it felt hollow. "That is true, but maybe I am just a little too used to the chaos." The bartender poured another drink, sliding it toward her. "On the house, you could use it." She hesitated, then raised her glass in a mock toast. "The chaos, then." The moment the words left her mouth, they turned into a bittersweet reminder of how life seldom followed the neat path she envisioned. As she sipped her drink, Ava's thoughts drifted back to Aaron. His voice was smooth, like honey, and she had felt a genuine connection. But then that woman had stormed in, shattering the moment like glass underfoot. She had no idea who he was. What if he was just another wealthy businessman with a penchant for pretty faces? A tension built in her chest, and she shook her head, clearing it. "Focus, Ava. Just because he is attractive doesn't mean he is worth it." But the whisper of doubt was an insistent echo, growing louder as she recalled the way he had looked at her, how he had smiled. A spark, she had thought. One that could ignite something far beyond a brief encounter in an airport lounge. With a sigh, Ava decided to leave the bar, her mind too conflicted to remain in his plush embrace. She wandered toward the lounge's expansive windows, watching the planes take off and land, their silhouettes cutting against the sunset. The vibrant colors painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside her. Just as she leaned against the glass, her phone buzzed violently in her bag. Startled, she fished it out, her heart racing at the thought of it being Aaron. But as she glanced at the screen, her heart plummeted. It was a work email, one that required her immediate attention. With a heavy sigh, she turned away from the window, moving toward the lounge's quieter corner, seeking refuge from the emotional storm. She pulled out her laptop, trying to immerse herself in the familiarity of work. Papers rustled, and she opened the email, her mind drifting back to Erin as she typed away. After a few minutes, the sound of high heels clicking on the floor broke through her concentration. Ava looked up to find the woman from earlier, the one who had interrupted her with Erin. She was now on the phone, her voice sharp and commanding. "I don't care if he is in a meeting, he needs to respond. This is unacceptable." Ava's heart raced as she watched the woman pace back and forth, her manic energy palpable. Just then, the woman caught Ava's eye and froze for a fraction of a second, the challenge in her gaze daring Ava to react. "Excuse me," she snapped, abruptly ending her call and taking a step closer. "Are you here with someone? I saw you with Erin." Ava took a deep breath, feeling the familiar pang of jealousy bubble back to the surface. "He was just being friendly," she replied coolly, leaning back in her chair in a show of confidence. "Friendly, huh?" The woman tilted her head, a smirk playing on her lips. "It is always the pleasant ones who are trouble, you know. Erin doesn't he do casual?" Ava's heart sank. "You know him well, then?" A flicker of annoyance crossed the woman's face, but she quickly masked it with a smile. "Let us just say we've had our share of ups and downs. You read just another pit stop in his endless parade." "Thanks for the insight," Ava replied, her voice sharper than intended. The woman's expression turned calculating, her gaze piercing. "I don't wish to make enemies here, Ava. Just be careful. Men like him can be charming, but they're often not what they seem." "Thanks, I'll keep that in mind," Ava retorted, feeling the tension that came between them. As the woman turned to leave, Ava couldn't shake the feeling of unease. Was Erin really just a charming facade? She was about to dismiss the thought when her phone buzzed again, this time with a notification that made her heart leap. A text from an unknown number popped up, ****, "Hey, Ava, it is Erin. I hope you don't mind me texting. I know this is a bit forward, but I really enjoyed our conversation and would love to talk more, *****. Her fingers trembled as she read the message, a smile breaking through her earlier anxieties. She quickly typed a response, ****, I enjoyed it too. Just a little caught up in work. How is the meeting going? ****. The reply came almost instantly. ****, just finished. Can I buy you dinner once we re-out? ****. A rush of excitement coursed through her, overwhelming the shadows of doubt. She held her breath, trying to ignore the memory of that woman's warning. "The dinner sounds great," she replied, the words spilling out with a sense of relief and hope. Before she could overthink it, her phone buzzed again. "****, I'll text you when I am free, ****. Ava set her phone down, her heart racing. In a matter of minutes, the tumult of uncertainty had shifted to a thrilling anticipation. Could this be the connection she had been craving? As she mulled it over, she couldn't help but wonder how much more complicated things might become. After all, life was rarely straightforward, and her heart had been bruised enough to know that nothing was ever guaranteed. But she also felt the exhilarating pull of possibility, one that made her want to take a chance to embrace whatever path lay ahead. Just then, her thoughts were interrupted by a familiar voice. "Ava, there you are." It was Erin, now back in the lounge, but this time he was alone. The instant their eyes met, the air crackled with energy. He looked even more handsome up close, his tailored suit fitting him perfectly, exuding an effortless charisma. "I am sorry about earlier," he said, his voice low and sincere. "I didn't mean to leave so abruptly. That was just a complication." Ava's heart fluttered at the admission. "No worries, airports are full of complications." He smiled, a hint of relief washing over his features. "Can I make it up to you? Dinner as promised?" "Yes, I do like that," she replied, the warmth in her voice genuine. They exchanged numbers again, the fingers brushing against each other, sparking a connection that felt electric. Ava couldn't shake the feeling that this could be the beginning of something special, everything she had longed for. As they settled into a light conversation, Ava felt the early tension fade, replaced by a cautious optimism. But in the back of her mind lingered the specter of that woman's warning, a reminder that the unknown could be both thrilling and frightening. But as Erin leaned in closer, his laughter mingling with hers, Ava chose to embrace the moment, letting herself believe that sometimes the risk was worth the reward. Ava felt a gentle warmth bloom within her as Erin leaned closer, his smile infectious, instantly setting her at ease. "So, Ava," he began, his tone playful yet earnest, "tell me, what do you do when you're not navigating airport lounges?" She chuckled softly, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear, a nervous head as she had yet to shake. "I am in marketing," she said, the familiar buzz of professional pride threading her voice. "I work for a tech firm. It is intense and sometimes overwhelming, but I love the challenge." Marketing, huh? He replied, his hazel eyes sparkling with intrigue. So, you're a master at selling things, including yourself? Ava felt her cheeks flush slightly. I suppose I do what I can, she replied, her tone teasing. But I have to admit, I am still working on my personal brand. Aaron leaned back, crossing his arms, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. I think you've got the whole mysterious woman in the airport lounge thing down perfectly, very marketable. Her heart raced, a flutter of excitement igniting within her. Mysterious? Me? You must be mistaken. I am as transparent as they come, she countered, her voice light yet laced with flirtation. Maybe, he replied, his smile widening as he leaned in again, but I am curious to know more. What is the real story behind the woman with the heavy bag? Ava hesitated, the weight of her own story pressing down like the bag she'd been lugging around. Well, she said slowly, searching for the right words, it is nothing too scandalous, just a girl trying to make her way in the world while figuring out what she wants. Isn't that what we're all doing, trying to find our place? He asked, his tone shifting to something deeper. Sometimes it feels like an endless search. His sincerity sent a shiver down her spine. She felt an unyielding urge to divulge the truth that lay beneath her polished exterior, to share the dreams and fears that had shaped her. You could say that, she admitted, her voice softening. I've always been ambitious, but ambition can be isolating. I understand that. My startup has consumed my life for the past few years, he confessed, his gaze turning serious. It is easy to lose sight of everything else. I sometimes wonder if it is worth it. Ava drew in a breath, captivated by the vulnerability he revealed. But you were passionate about it, right? She asked. That is what drives you, I imagine. He nodded. Absolutely, but it does come with sacrifices. Relationships sometimes take the backseat. The atmosphere thickened, an unspoken tension hovering between them. Did he mean romantic relationships? Her heart raced at the thought, the flutter of hope mingling with a twinge of apprehension. Do you regret it? She asked, curious and tentative, as if probing a wound. Sometimes, he replied, his voice low. But then I meet someone like you, and it reminds me that life is about connection. That is what I am missing. Her breath caught, a wave of emotion crashing over her. You think I am worth the time? She asked, a teasing lilt in her voice, though the sincerity behind it was profound. I do, he said firmly, his eyes locking onto hers. I wouldn't have asked you to dinner otherwise. The intensity of his gaze made her heart race. There was a palpable chemistry between them, igniting sparks in the air. She felt drawn to him, yet a whisper of doubt began to weave its way through her thoughts. Just then, Ava's phone vibrated once more, breaking the moment. She glanced down, her stomach sinking as she saw yet another work email flash across the screen. Sorry, she murmured, quickly tapping the message away. No worries, Aaron replied, though she detected a hint of disappointment in his voice. Ava felt the familiar frustration bubble up. It is just work, she said, forcing a casual smile. I can seem to escape it even during a moment like this. It is hard to disconnect, he said, his tone empathetic. But it is important to carve out space for yourself, especially when you have someone worth sharing it with. The weight of his words resonated with her, a reminder that she often prioritized work at the expense of her own happiness. You're right, she said softly, meeting his gaze. I need to work on that. Their conversation deepened as they shared their aspirations, fears, and dreams. Ava spoke about her desire to travel more, to experience life fully rather than just from behind a desk. Aaron shared his ambition to grow his startup into something impactful, to create technology that would help people. But as they navigated through their dreams, Ava couldn't shake the weight of the other confrontation with that woman. The memory of her warning lingered, a shadow that seemed to darken the vibrant connection they were building. Do you ever feel like you were surrounded by the wrong people? She blurted out, her voice hesitant. Like everyone is just using you. Aaron furrowed his brow. I think everyone has their motives, but I try to focus on those who really matter, he replied, his expression serious. People who uplift you, inspire you, those are the relationships worth cherishing. How do you know who to trust? She asked, her heart racing as the question hung in the air. He leaned closer, his voice low and earnest. By being vulnerable, by being honest about who you are, and sometimes you have to take a leap of faith, despite the risks. Ava felt the warmth of his words seep into her bones. Isn't he that scary? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. Terrifying, he conceded, a hint of a smile playing at his lips. But I do rather face the fear than live in uncertainty. What about you? I want to embrace the unknown, she admitted, the truth spilling out like a tide. But have you been burned before? It is hard to let go. He reached out, lightly resting his hand on hers, sending a jolt of electricity through her. Then let me show you, he said, a fire igniting in his gaze. Let me take you to dinner, and let us see where this leads. Ava felt a rush of longing. She was teetering on the edge of something exhilarating, yet terrifying. Okay, she breathed, her heart fluttering in anticipation. But just as she was about to lean in, her moment of vulnerability was interrupted by a loud commotion across the lounge. The woman from earlier was back, this time with a group of colleagues, her sharp laughter slicing through the atmosphere like a knife. Erin, she called out, her voice cutting through the moment. There you are, I've been looking for you. Ava felt a knot form in her stomach as the woman's gaze landed on her, a knowing smirk creeping onto her face. Are you busy? She asked, her voice dripping with faux sweetness. Erin's expression turned uncomfortable, the cheerfulness of their intimate moment shattering like glass. Just catching up, he replied, his tone clipped. Right, the woman said, stepping closer, her eyes dancing between them with amusement. Well, we have to go over some things. You promised Judy help with the presentation. Ava felt the heat rise in her cheeks, a wave of jealousy surging through her. Hadn't they just shared something special? The lightness between them felt heavy now, suffocated by the intrusion of this woman. Of course, I'll be right there, he said, reluctance evident in his voice. Turning back to Ava, he offered a half-hearted smile. Can we continue this later? Yeah, sure, she replied, her heart sinking. I understand. The tension thickened as he stood up, clearly caught between his obligation to the woman and his desire to be with Ava. She watched helplessly as the moments slipped away, feeling the joy they had built together begin to unravel. I'll text you, okay, he said, his eyes searching hers as if hoping for understanding. Sure, Ava replied, forcing a smile even as her heart twisted with disappointment. As he walked away, the woman's laughter echoed in her ears, a cruel reminder of the unpredictability of connection. Ava couldn't shake the feeling of being second best, an afterthought in someone else's story. She sank back into her chair, her heart heavy with longing and uncertainty. She had let herself hope, only to be reminded that life rarely unfolded as neatly as she imagined. But as the lounge buzzed around her, she also felt a flicker of resilience ignite within. She had taken a chance on connection, and no matter how it ended, she had embraced the moment. And maybe, just maybe, the story wasn't over yet. As Ava sat there, her mind a whirlpool of emotions, she felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her. The lounge buzzed around her, travelers lost in their own worlds, yet she felt like a solitary island in the sea of humanity. The warmth of the moment with Erin had evaporated, replaced by a chill that seeped into her bones. She glanced at her phone, half hoping for a notification that would bring warmth back into her heart. But the screen stayed stubbornly quiet, and the absence of a message felt almost like a betrayal. The knot in her stomach tightened as she replayed the earlier moments in her mind, the laughter, the connection, the way he had looked at her as if she were the only person in the room. And now, here she was, alone. Ava took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. She could not let this moment define her. Just as she was about to shake off the disappointment, the bartender approached again, his brows furrowed with concern. Hey, you okay? That guy didn't treat you right, did he? No, it's not like that, Ava replied, forcing a smile. He asked, complicated, but aren't we all? She took a sip of her drink, the cool liquid providing a momentary distraction. The bartender leaned in closer, his voice low. Just remember, you deserve someone who sees you for who you are, not just who you could be. Don't settle for less. Wise words for a bartender, she jerked, though there was an edge of sincerity in her voice. I appreciate it. You're welcome. I'll be right here if you need to talk, he said, giving her a reassuring nod before moving on to another patron. Ava watched him go, grateful for the brief moment of connection. It reminded her that she wasn't entirely alone. She sighed, her fingers tapping nervously against the glass. Maybe she needed to give Erin the benefit of the doubt. But as she looked around the lounge, the sight of the woman from earlier sent a fresh wave of irritation coursing through her. There she was, laughing with a group of sharply dressed colleagues, her laughter like a melody that felt more like a mocking tone to Ava. The way she tossed her hair, the confidence exuding from her, it all made Ava feel small. Then, unexpectedly, her phone buzzed. Heart racing, she scrambled to check the message, the flutter of hope sparking in her chest. But it was not from Erin. It was a work email, demanding her attention. The excitement fizzled like a deflating balloon. Great, she muttered under her breath. Just what I needed. She fought the urge to throw her phone against the wall. Instead, she closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and then opened the email, forcing herself to focus. As she typed a response, her mind wandered back to Aaron. Surely he wouldn't keep her waiting much longer. She recalled his eyes, the warmth of his presence, how it felt to laugh with him. But as the minutes slipped by, that hopeful expectation twisted into doubt. Then, just as she was about to shut her laptop, her phone buzzed again. This time her heart leapt into her throat. **Kate, it is Aaron. I just finished up. Are you still around? **. She felt a rush of exhilaration, her heart pounding as she quickly typed back, **, yes, I am still here. **. A minute later, she saw him entering the lounge, that same charming smile lighting up his face. He looked more relaxed now, the earlier tension having melted away, and Ava felt a flutter of excitement course through her veins. "Sorry for the wait," he said as he approached. The meeting turned into a bit of a circus. "Seems like you're in high demand," Ava replied, trying to keep her tone light, even as she felt a pang of jealousy. The woman had been insistent, and Ava couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to their relationship than he had let on. Aaron chuckled, a slight shake of his head. "If only they knew how much I'd rather be here with you." His words dripped with sincerity, and Ava felt herself melt slightly. "Really? You'd rather be here with me than dealing with—" She gestured vaguely towards the group of colleagues. "All there." "Absolutely," he said earnestly, leaning closer. "I was looking forward to this all day." Her breath caught in her throat as their eyes met. The air felt electric between them, charged with unspoken words. "I am glad to hear that," she admitted, her heart racing as the chemistry crackled in the space around them. Aaron smiled, and for a moment it felt as if the chaos of the world had faded away, leaving just the two of them suspended in time. But just as quickly, doubt crept in again. "So, how was the meeting?" she asked, her voice slightly shaky. "Chaotic, mostly," he replied, the glimmer of sincerity returning to his hazel eyes. "Full of people trying to impress each other. You know how these things go. But I kept thinking about our conversation." Ava felt her cheeks warm at the compliment, her heart racing. "Oh?" She leaned in slightly intrigued. "Yeah," he continued, his voice low and intense. "You have this way of seeing the world that is refreshing. I wish more people thought like you." Her heart fluttered at the compliment, though a nagging worry shadowed the moment. "But I am just a girl with a bag full of work files," she said, attempting to deflect the attention. "Maybe, but you read also more than that," Aaron insisted, his eyes searching hers. "I get the sense there is so much depth to you, you just have to let it out." Ava felt a mix of vulnerability and caution swell within her. "And what if I let it out, and it doesn't match your expectations?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Then I'll be surprised," he replied, his tone serious. "But I'd rather see the real you than some polished version. I think the real you is remarkable." Tension hung thick in the air, her heart pounding at his words. In that moment, she wanted to trust him, to let him see her. But the haunting echoes of the woman's warning loomed at the edges of her mind. Before she could respond, the woman firm before he entered the scene, her laughter cutting through the moment. "Aaron, there you are," she called out, her voice dripping with a shivery sweetness that grated against Ava's ears. Ava's heart sank again, the warmth of the moment dissipating like morning fog under the sun. Aaron's expression shifted slightly, a flicker of annoyance crossing his face. "I'll be right there," he said, his voice strained. The woman sauntered over, her presence demanding attention in a way that left Ava feeling small and forgotten. "We need to finalize our plans for tomorrow. Are you ready?" "Just give me a second," Aaron said impatiently, turning back to Ava with an apologetic look. "I am really sorry about this." Ava nodded, forcing a smile, her heart twisting in knots. "Of course, go ahead. Duty calls." "Wait, Ava," he started, but the woman tugged at his arm, clearly annoyed. "Now, Aaron," she snapped, her eyes narrowing. Ava felt a wave of frustration wash over her, along with a deep sense of insecurity. She watched as Aaron hesitated, torn between two worlds. "I'll text you later," he said, his voice hopeful yet uncertain. "Sure," she replied, though the disappointment was palpable. As he walked away, the woman's laughter rang in her ears, mocking her moment of connection. Ava took a deep breath, trying to calm the turmoil inside. But as the evening wore on, the magic of their earlier moments felt like a distant memory. Feeling restless, she stood up and wandered toward the expansive windows again, gazing at the planes taking off against the backdrop of a bruised sky. The sunset bled colors of orange and violet, and for a fleeting moment she found solace in its beauty. Just then, her phone buzzed again, breaking her reverie. She glanced down, her heart racing as she saw a new message from Aaron. Asterisk asterisk Kate, I am really sorry about that. Can we meet for dinner tomorrow? The asterisk asterisk. A rush of warmth flooded her chest, pushing back against the doubt and disappointment. She quickly typed in response. Asterisk asterisk, yes, I do love that. Asterisk asterisk. Asterisk asterisk, great, I'll pick you up at 7. Asterisk asterisk. Asterisk asterisk sounds perfect. Asterisk asterisk. She set her phone down, a smile creeping onto her face. The connection they had shared, though briefly interrupted, still felt vibrant and real. Perhaps tomorrow would bring new possibilities, a chance to explore the depth of their chemistry. As she stood by the window, watching the last remnants of sunlight dip below the horizon, she made a silent promise to herself. Whatever uncertainty lay ahead, she would embrace it. For the first time in a long while, she felt a flicker of hope and ember of possibility igniting within. And that, she thought, was worth taking a chance on.